All right. Hey, what's going on, everyone? I'm really digging this new YouTube live stream setup here. I've got video on the left. I've got chat on the right. So now I can see everyone's comments as they come in. Just a little bit of housekeeping here before I get started. So what I'll do is I'm going to go through 5 things that I think Tesla should spend their $2.7 billion on. And then at the end, I'll go through and I'll just take questions. So if you've got a question while it comes to mind, feel free and put it in the comments, and then I'll go back through and just answer those questions, or you can save them to the end, whatever you feel most comfortable with. So thanks, everyone, for taking some time out of your day, your Friday. Pumped about today, pumped about getting a lot of stuff done here. If you've been following this Colorado EV charging bill, that's a little bit of what I'll be spending my time on today. I also have some real estate. I got to send out a real estate email newsletter to my database. So those are a couple of things that are top of mind, but I wanted to get this out of the way because this is definitely something that's sort of, quote, breaking news. So let's dive into this, because I think this will be a really interesting conversation for those that follow Tesla closely. As you probably know, they announced that they're going to be raising some capital, about $2.7 billion. And in the filing, in the SEC filing, they state why or what they're going to be using it for. They say, quote, to further strengthen our balance sheet as well as for general corporate purposes. So a little bit vague there. And I want to dive into this because I immediately, when I started thinking about this yesterday, I immediately, as a business person, started thinking, okay, so if I had $2.7 billion, where would I get the best bang for my buck if I was running this company? So I want to go through 5 ideas that I've got, and I'd love for you to add in the comments how you think Tesla should use it. So the first one is to further build out Giga 1. We know that that's not complete. And I think that there is some opportunity there, and I'll explain why in just a moment. I also think that we could very well see an announcement this year, 2019, about Giga 4 in Europe. So you've got Giga 1 in Reno, Nevada. You have Giga 2, which is in Buffalo, New York. That's going to be Tesla's solar outfit, solar production. You have Giga 3 in Shanghai, China. And there's been some rumblings about an additional gigafactory in Europe. This would essentially cover most of the continents that Tesla is marketing and selling their vehicles to. And to me, this makes a lot of sense to spend some money to start that development and have an outfit in Europe to produce cars. This will delay that time that vehicles are produced and into the customer's hands. We know that became a problem in Q1 of 2019 for vehicles being on a ship and that delay there. So I think that, excuse me, there may be some news with that sometime soon, and Tesla may be able to use some of that funding to get that facility started in Europe. What are they going to use these gigafactories for? If they build out Giga 1, continue to build that out. We know that Gigafactory 3 in Shanghai is just going gangbusters. I mean, they're going to be done by September, I think it was, August or September. So that's heading in the right direction. We expect to see some cars rolling off the line there later this year. But I think that Tesla needs to figure out where they're going to produce the semi-truck Model Y pickup truck, and for European markets, the Model 3. But as of now, the last earnings call, they were talking about producing Model Y in another tent in Fremont, which has been working. But to me, that's always seemed like a Band-Aid fix for the limited capital to be able to build out or expand production facilities. So Reno, Nevada seems like the best route to be able to not only increase their production space, but also have room to just build more cars. And I think the cost for employment and production, the whole cost, I think, is far less expensive in Nevada than it is in California. So that's the first thing that I think would be a valuable way to spend that money. Second is fast tracking the Maxwell acquisition, which we've heard is supposed to be closing here middle of the month, middle of May. And so fast tracking that acquisition as well, and probably more importantly, implementing that tech into their production process. So there's two things that come to mind in terms of the value of Maxwell acquisition. Number one, of course, is the technology, the dry battery electrode technology, which I think first and foremost is why Tesla's interested in Maxwell. It's a new tech, and I think that's why you didn't hear much about Maxwell until Tesla made the bid to acquire them. The other thing that I think a lot of people talked about is the supercapacitors. To me, that's interesting, and I think there could be some play there in terms of implementing supercapacitors in Tesla vehicles for high charge rates. But to me, in my opinion, I think the DBE tech, battery tech, is the play there. The reason why is because not only do they have the chemistry in those DBEs to increase range from, I think, 250 watt hours per mile to 300. They have technology right now for 300 watts per mile. I'm gonna screw that up. I have a feeling that I'm messing that up. So feel free to put it in the comments down below if you've got that more top of mind than I do. And they've got a pathway to 500 watts per mile. I'm screwing that up. I know I am. It's not watts per mile. It's something else. And actually, maybe I'll just pull up the little presentation here from Maxwell. I have that available. Excuse me. Okay, so correction. So they've got tech right now for 300 watts per kilogram, not watts per mile. Maxwell does, and they have demonstrated. This is quoting from their actual presentation from January. They have demonstrated a path to 500 watts per kilogram. So this is directly in line with one of the last videos that I published in terms of Tesla's battery tech and what will happen when that Maxwell tech is implemented. So that's one thing. This is going to increase the range of Tesla's batteries when they implement Maxwell tech. But that's not the only thing. It's sort of this two-pronged or maybe three-pronged benefit. The second one is extending battery life of the vehicle. So Maxwell said in this presentation that their DBE tech will improve durability, extending battery life up to 2x. So the battery is going to last 2 times longer with this DBE. And the third and probably most important reason is cost reduction. So Maxwell says that they have a 16x production capacity density increase and a 10 to 20% increase in cost reduction versus state-of-the-art wet electrodes. So what does that mean in layman terms? It means that it's going to cost less and take less time to produce those batteries. That is monumental and fundamental, quite frankly, to getting those batteries down below where they need to. The other thing that I think is interesting that they mention on this presentation here is this DBE tech requires no solvents, has next-gen materials, is cobalt-free, which is one thing that you hear a lot of detractors or critics say about the lithium technology. Oh, it's coming from conflict countries, and they're basically conflict batteries because of the cobalt. At the moment, before Tesla implements Maxwell tech, I believe that there's about 5% cobalt, and Tesla has said and on the record that they intend to remove cobalt potentially. This is with Maxwell in mind, and so they also say that this is solid state. These are the solid state batteries. So some really, really interesting implications if Tesla does end up going through with this acquisition for Maxwell. The other sort of like Moonshot Monday thing that I want to talk about with the Maxwell acquisition is, could Tesla be making some moves to become their own battery supplier? Currently, their primary battery supplier is Panasonic. And they've been in bed with them, partnering together with them for years, since Model S days. And part of me wonders if there may be some positioning here for Tesla to really go vertical with this portion of their production. Could they own the entire life cycle or cycle of the cell production? Could they be sourcing the materials, number one? And then could they be mixing the battery chemistry and then putting that battery chemistry into the actual cells and building the modules and the battery packs? So this is crazy, but I would not be surprised at all if we start to hear something like that. This seems true to Elon and Tesla's style. And to own that process means that they control more of their production and production cost. And it also means that they're less susceptible to market prices in terms of production, and not held as hostage to some of these larger battery suppliers, Panasonic, LG, and some of the other ones. KATL, I think, is another one. So I think I would not be surprised if Tesla uses some of this 2.7 billion to make some moves to bring that battery supply chain in-house. So keep an eye on that, and I think especially with that news that hit yesterday that said that materials for batteries could be in short supply. This, to me, could make sense. They're controlling a little bit more of that supply chain, bringing it in-house. This is exactly what Apple did way back in the day when they moved from Intel chip to their own. All right, so next one is to speed up the development of full self-driving, further increasing their gap between competition in themselves, as well as roll out the Tesla robotaxi. I think this has huge fundamental impacts on revenue for Tesla. This is huge. If a car can drive itself and they're the first to market, this gives them a significant competitive advantage. And when someone's looking at buying a car, once this technology is fully developed and Tesla can say, "Yep, we've got that," and the government supports it, and no one else in the auto industry has that, it's going to be a slam dunk for them, I think. And to me, it appears like, based off of that autonomy day, the investor autonomy day, that they are probably 3 to 5 years ahead of automaker competition. So it looks very, very promising. I think that will have a huge impact on revenue. Fourth one, massive rollout of solar and battery storage. We've heard Elon talk about this. We've heard him say that this is something that 2019 will be the year of Tesla energy. He said that at the Model Y event, and I think that this is an untapped potential, and Tesla really hasn't given that arm of their business a whole lot of attention. I think that they've been doing a lot of product development and product validation on the background for their solar tiles, but I think that there's a huge opportunity on the solar panel side. So the solar tiles are going to be the premium next gen technology that people will pay a lot of money for. In fact, solar tiles are going to be 2x the cost of traditional solar panels. This is not going to be a super affordable technology at first. This will be on par with roofing tiles that you see on higher end homes, not your asphalt shingle tiles. I don't think it will be like that for another 5 years. So I think that there's going to be a good opportunity there. They just need to get that off and get that into high production volumes. The other piece is the battery storage, which is sort of a complement to solar. If you're producing the solar, you probably want to store that energy into somewhere so that when the sun goes down, you can utilize that solar energy. Cell constraint, supply constraint, I think is one of the bottlenecks for them rolling this out, which is why it could make sense for Tesla to become their own battery supplier and control a little bit more of that supply chain. All right, and so the last and final thing that I think that they should spend their $2.7 billion on, and then I'll go ahead and take some questions and comments, is owner support. So this is you know, so these previous four things are all sort of product front facing, generates immediate sales revenue for Tesla. Owner support, building out service centers, self-serve software, and mobile service is sort of the way to retain all those new customers, right? We saw this issue with Q3 of 2018, excuse me, where Tesla was just delivering Model 3s like crazy, and really the rest of that 2018 year, they were going gangbusters. If they continue to do this, deliver more vehicles, they're also going to need the service centers and service staff to support those vehicles. And Tesla's been doing some things in 2019 to help alleviate the issues. One of the big ones, in my opinion, is well, this is not necessarily tied directly to service, but one of the things that I have seen improve is the quality of the build quality of the vehicles. I have not heard of any issues in build quality, and there may still be some, but I think that they've sort of solved that problem by just producing better built vehicles with less issues, less paint quality issues, less scratches, less panel gaps. I think that they've been improving that, and I think that has a big impact on the service side. However, when a customer does have an issue with their vehicle, I think it's really, really important, number one, to have a short turnaround time to get a vehicle in to get taken a look at. And then two, can those service centers be body shops as well? Elon has talked about this a couple of earnings calls ago. I don't know how that's coming along. From what I understand here in Denver, that is not happening. They don't have an operational body shop tied to the Tesla service center. And so my guess is they're probably still outsourcing a lot of that to third-party body shops. So turnaround time for repairs, fixes of any sort, I think is really, really key. As well, the software side of things, I think, has had a huge impact. If you saw not long after the beginning of 2019, maybe it was around February or March, they introduced this new feature inside of the Tesla mobile app that allowed you to self-schedule an appointment. And I think that had that lifted a huge burden off of the phone lines, right? If you can schedule your own thing and you don't have to talk with anyone or wait on hold, it's going to solve a lot of people's frustrations. Now, I get that sometimes you'll still want to call in and just say, hey, does this make sense? Do I need to schedule something? But that self-serve software, I think Tesla will continue to roll out and continue to leverage technology to help people self-serve their problems. And then the mobile service piece. I really, really am a big fan of Tesla coming to me where I'm at home or, on site somewhere to help address a problem. And it makes customers happy. And it's a really convenient way to address some of the smaller issues that don't need vehicle car lifts, for example, battery replacements. And then when this full self-driving thing comes to fruition, you may be able to have your vehicle drive to wherever Tesla's at, and so that I think is where the development of the full self-driving thing comes into play with helping support owners. I think that's going to make owners happy if they can just send their car to the service center autonomously, have it fixed, and then Tesla will just autonomously send the car back to wherever you're at. There is one really huge risk, I think, in this all that could really hamper Tesla's advancement of growth, and that's this battery cell constraints. I do think this is a pretty large risk. If you have cell constraints, you can't produce the volume that you want for any of your products that require batteries. Now, again, that's why I say that it might make sense for Tesla to become a battery supplier where they control the entire supply chain. So perhaps you might see Tesla acquire some raw metal producers, right? So it would be, Tesla cobalt, or they're going to do away with cobalt, but Tesla nickel, or magnesium. So you may see Tesla acquire some of these people so that they can roll that out, control a little bit more of that supply chain, and continue to ramp things up. Okay, so how did I do on time? Minutes is pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to go top down here. It all should go to customer service and after purchase services. I think that that's a strong play. Retention of customers is really, really key, right? If you have someone who loves their car but gets crappy service, they're probably not going to keep that car for very long. Build quality as well. Yeah, I agree. Hello from Singapore. Internal purchases for giant robotaxi fleet. Yeah, it's an interesting strategy. So we've got Tesla Semi, Model Y, and Roadster. Yep, so that they should put some money towards that. I agree. I think the money should be used to make sure all needed for the next 3 vehicles. Yes, yeah, Semi, Roadster, Y. The Roadster is interesting to me. So I mean, it's going to be a niche product, right? It's a $250,000, $200,000 to $250,000 vehicle. The production volume for that is not going to be huge. I think where Tesla will benefit from making sure that vehicle gets to production is this will be the top of the line technology, the new in fringe technology for Tesla. So you may see the Maxwell technology get rolled into the Tesla Roadster first, because at first it's going to be the most expensive technology as they produce. It drives the cost down. So I would not be surprised if Maxwell tech gets implemented into the Roadster and the semi-truck first. And that, by the way, that also could be the reason why semi-truck tech is delayed until next year. They may be waiting to acquire Maxwell technologies before they start implementing their tech into these vehicles. All right. Hey, Logan, what's up? Representing Denver. Do you think they'll use this additional capital to finish Giga 1? Completion of that. But yeah, so I mean, I think I already addressed that. I think that's a smart play. They've got room there. They've already started the build out of that. To me, that makes sense because they're producing the battery cells and battery packs there. Okay, so okay, so quality control, interior upgrade for S and X to push sales, mobile repair fleet, complete max. So yeah, we're thinking along the same lines there. You bring up something that's interesting to me. So it's been long rumored that Model S and X will get an interior quote unquote refresh. I do think that's going to happen, and I would not be shocked one bit if Model S and X get 2170 cells. I really did find it interesting that this update that they most recently did for S and X, where you saw range increases through primarily the front motor for S and X, that battery pack cannot take the full 250 kilowatt charge rate that the Model 3 can. Implementing 2170 cells into S and X makes a lot of sense from a production streamline perspective. If you're just using one single cell for all of your vehicles, you're able to drive costs down faster. They could use a different cell size, battery cell size. So I don't know of the advantages or disadvantages of the actual battery cell. I do know that the 2170s are taller and bigger than the 18650, and there may be some benefits there with being able to take that high charge rate. So I would not be surprised one bit if sometime very soon, maybe in 2019, maybe along with the interior refresh, that Model S and X do get 2170 cells and get the 250 kilowatt charge rate. Quality control, yeah. And by the way, I have seen some improvement on quality control and service. in my opinion. This is based on my personal experience here in Denver. This is based on keeping a pretty close ear to the ground on owners here in Denver as well. I'm just not seeing a lot of stuff online where people are frustrated with not being able to get in or being on hold like I did late last year. Spending on the semi-truck would be best, yeah. There's probably going to be a pretty healthy profit margin on the semi-truck. So that makes a lot of sense. Won't be super high volume. So it's not going to be like, 100, 200,000 semi-trucks a year. It's probably, maybe they've even said this publicly, but it's probably going to be like 25,000 to 50,000 semi-trucks a year. They really need to get this thing out, including mega chargers. That's actually a really good point. If you have the semi trucks and you're starting to roll those out, mega chargers to be able to support that high charge rate, which I don't know what that's going to be. If a Model 3 can take 250 kilowatts, maybe the semi truck takes 400. I don't know. Would be interesting. But mega chargers, you will need to support those. Part of me thinks so. I wonder if Tesla will build out a portion of their supercharger land to also facilitate these semi trucks. The one thing that you have to keep in mind is that these semi trucks have trailers on the back, and so it's not as easy. So you have to sort of make it easy for them to pull in directly and then pull out instead of backing up. So maybe it makes sense to have these things at or near diesel truck stops. Yeah, I mean, Richard, you're saying they specifically stated that they don't expect to spend this money. They intend for it to be a buffer zone. I'm not sure I believe that at all. I think they need to accelerate growth. And one of the things that has been a hindrance in 2019 has been the limited cash flow. I know I have not heard about the EU change to disallow trucks to have hoods like in America. Why is that? So it's going to have a flat hood, right? Let's see here. Reading through. Yep, thanks for the help with the watts per kilogram. Solid state batteries have issues to achieve both currently environmental impact of the DBE. Yeah, for sure. Yep. Oh, it just jumped. Lost my place here. How are we doing? So I'm gonna stop this at 3 minutes. So I'm gonna try and get through a little bit more of your questions. Do you think that the first delivered semi-trucks will have full self-driving? I think it'll have the hardware installed, but there may be some additional things that they need to consider for the commercial space. And there may be, I'm speaking here in the US, there may be some federal guidelines in addition to what would be required for consumer vehicles that would need to be in place. So separate governing body for commercial vehicles. How will they need to change the skateboard design for S and X? Yeah, if they go to the 2170, it's going to need, well, who knows? Maybe with the Maxwell tech, you get higher energy density, and you don't need to add as many cells. But those 2170s are taller and wider, so you are going to have to think about that. Certainly taller, so the pack will get a little bit thicker. My guess is. All right. How much of their current cash on hand is deposits for customers for future cars? I think that they, excuse me. I think that they talked about that in the last earnings call. I don't have it off memory, but it is in their earnings announcement. Okay, so. This is actually a good question here. Anyone else feel like they should do the truck before the Y? I think the truck is going to be premium. I think it's going to be north of $50,000. I think it'll be in line with Model S and X prices. Therefore, I think the Model Y is a better strategy because you've got a larger potential market to address there with that compact or crossover SUV. But the price point is going to be the thing there. I think the price point, depending on the price of the pickup truck, if the pickup truck is sub $50,000, it might make sense to do the pickup truck. There might be a better market for it. But I think globally, the SUV, compact SUV crossover is going to be a larger market than the pickup truck. Pickup trucks are super big in North America, but I don't believe that outside of North America they've got as large of a market. So the crossover SUV, I think, will be a better selection. All right, we're at 30 minutes here. So thank you so much for jumping on. Really appreciate your time and attention. And if this was an interesting conversation, give it a like, give it a share as well. And I'll see everyone probably on the next video next week. Today's Friday. Yeah, so next video from me should be next week. And yeah, so I will talk with everyone next week. Have a good day.